He is a contract, business, and real estate law, negotiations, and dispute resolution. He is an interesting character. He's worked in the field of entertainment, and he's here with us today to talk all kind of things. Maybe you'll have an opinion on this. Say hello, folks, to David Himelfarb.
Morning, guys. Thank you for having me.
What's going on, son?
How's it going?
I'm Howard. This is Fred. Of course, you know Barker. What would you say if someone said, what is the main law that you practice? Is it entertainment? Is it contract? Is it
business law?
Business law. Yeah. But with a sort of a major in entertainment?
I do a lot of entertainment. I'm a member of the California Bar. I've done a lot of stuff in comedy in particular. So I do a lot of entertainment. People think I do entertainment work, but I do a lot of different things.
When I first moved here, there was a guy that I worked with me for a while, Steven Stone.
Yeah, I know Steven. Steven does a lot of music. He's a producer, too.
And Steven's famous in the community. One of his, I guess, but his biggest claim would be his wife is the woman that started Degrassi, I think, isn't she? She's one of the producers. Anyway,
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. What do you care?
I care. Steven's a nice guy. I just don't know his wife.
Anyway, she's a Degrassi lady.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you say like entertainment law, do you performers, actors, and then you get to know that end of law and help them with contracts? And
yes, I help them with contracts. I started out with working as a junior lawyer for a guy named Lou Silverstein. He represented Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas from SCTV. So I did a lot of work in comedy from those two guys and the work I did there. I started working with Kids in the Hall, ended up being their manager, producer, went on the road with them. Lots of great experiences for about 3 tours, international tours. And but as a lawyer, I did all of their contract work, trademark work. Anything I could do, I would do. Anything I couldn't do, I would hire other lawyers to help me.
So when a group of comedians or a comedian, like Kids in the Hall, like you said, you start off doing law for them, but you end up managing them.
Yes.
Are those deals... And again, without getting too, I know there's a certain, you can't...
Confidentiality.
Discretion. But I'm going to ask you some indiscreet questions, Dave, so just get used to that.
Sure, no problem.
So how much money... No, I'm just kidding. So are those deals more... Like in the entertainment world, are those deals more complicated, less complicated than, say, just an average business deal? Or are they similar to anything, whether you're leasing a building or hiring a guy to come do some work for it?
They're similar in that you're selling something, someone's buying something, someone's selling something. So you have to understand what the asset is, what you're selling, and what the value is. And that's it. So in terms of valuations, what am I selling, what's it worth, you need someone to tell you that. I don't know. As a lawyer, wouldn't know that. So I would rely upon agents. What's it worth? In the case of Kids in the Hall, what's an engagement worth? If they do a night at a casino, if they do a night at a regular theater, what's it worth? So you need to know what the value is.
So how detailed do you get as a lawyer? Like you say, okay, we're booking Kids in the Hall into a Vegas casino for a run. Do you get involved in, okay, here's how much money they need, but here's all the other things they need?
Yes, every aspect of it. I would have been involved in terms of all the costs. I write all the checks. I receive all the money. I disperse it. So I would have to be very detailed. I was very detailed.
Is it good money in the entertainment business? Because we're not. We're not in the entertainment business. We're in this thing, but in the real entertainment business, is there good money, Dave?
There's great money, as you know, but the one thing in common, and you'll appreciate this, is that, and it occurred to me, I was sitting backstage. It was a tour was ending, and I was sitting around with the crew, and they're all talking about they're going on off to do different tours. And it occurred to me, I said, "You're just a bunch of carnies, aren't you? You're just a bunch of," and they are. All of entertainment
is a tough life.
Whether you're doing movies or whatever you're doing, or personal appearances, you're just going from town to town, putting up the big shot, the big top, and then leaving. It's a tough life. That's why television series are so valuable for entertainers. They get to sit down. They have to raise their families. They're not moving from town to town. It's a tough life. I really do think it's a tough life, no matter what. With the Stones, it's probably easier with jets and the multi-millions, but it's still tough. You're going from town to town.
Right. Have you ever represented Americans?
I have, of course, sure.
Because the difference between the U.S. and Canada when it comes to negotiation, because this country is notorious for being cheap and not being as good to entertainers as there might be in the United States. Are those negotiations different? Do you have to squeeze stuff out of, like the CBC with Kids in the Hall?
It's just a smaller market, so it's very hard to finance things and to produce things for out of Canada because you need other partners. It's very expensive. it's very expensive to produce any type of content, as you undoubtedly know.
Yeah, I guess that more or less answers the question. It's all in numbers. Why did the Kids in the Hall? Did they have any U.S. success
Huge.
to speak up?
Huge.
Well, they were
huge.
Yeah, well, they were on Saturday Night Live for a few years, and they had that show that was started in Canada.
As Kids in the Hall?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and they
No, not as Kids in the Hall.
No, but I'm saying the couple of them were on.
Yeah.
But Kids in the Hall had a Broadway video deal with
Lorne Michaels.
Is that did you do that deal?
I did.
Well, talk to us about it. I want all the details, David.
No.
I want to know
it's
percentages. I want to know above the line.
Their history was they were performing at the Rivoli, and Lorne sent up a representative to see them and signed them to a deal early on in the 80s and took them to New York and boot camp, as they called it, and I guess they learned the ropes, and then did a pilot out of Toronto, CBC Studios on Mutual Street, and the pilot aired on HBO, and they're successful. And then Comedy Central, their fan base in the United States was huge because Comedy Central played their show nonstop and reruns, and so kids would take off school, and the college kids, and they'd drink or smoke weed or whatever they do, but they became very, very hugely enamored with the Kids in the Hall.
So like a cult following type thing.
A very big cult following. They were narrow but deep, is how you describe it.
Like Red Green, actually, in the States too. Yeah.
I don't know about Red Green. It's more a mild type of humor. It's a different humor. Kids in the Hall.
I know, but he did well that way in the States as well.
He may very well have. Yeah. So when they started touring again in 1999 or 2000, Comedy Central was their sponsor. They were enormously successful. They sold out in a couple hours. It was just hugely successful. But they'd blown apart and hadn't been on stage and hadn't been together in about 5 or 6 years. So it was a big deal.
So do they still perform? I haven't run in. We've had a bunch of them on the show. And it's funny because I was doing stand-up in Calgary, and I've mentioned this before. They used to go on at a place called the Loose Moose Theater. And then it was the only place in Calgary that you could do stand-up. And what we would do is all the guys like me and Brent Piaskowski and Judy Kroon, we would go on stage after them at midnight, because they would do their little set, and then that was when stand-ups went on. And I've known certainly Bruce McCullough for a long, long time. And like Fred's question, though, is a good one, because I don't think we Canadians have a real scope of how successful they've been. I mean, they've made a lot of money, these crazy kooks. David.
They do great. In terms of touring, the shows are always fantastic. They just did a show in 2000 last year. Jim Milan is Amanda knows Jim. Jim's a terrific director and creative producer, and the shows are always really well received. They're really well thought out. I've been very close to it and watch them create. They're just really marvelous. It's really a great show.
Jim was the man behind Spank.
Oh, right. That's how you guys...
Yeah.
So, and what is your day-to-day now? Who do you handle? Do you have room for Humble and Fred? Are you looking at this thinking, this is where my next big...
Right, I'm going to snag these two young guys.
You could snag us. Yeah. We need snagging.
I think you got a big career ahead of you.
We are here, up till now, not snagged.
Right.
We could use a little snag.
You could use a little snag. Who couldn't use a little snag?
Exactly, David. Why aren't we... Where do we... Did you bring a... Are you ready to sign? I'm ready to sign. Did you bring a contract? Because I'll represent...
I don't care what it says, Dave.
Our following is narrow but deep.
Something.
Our following is...
I haven't signed
tiny but insignificant.
I haven't signed anything since 2003, Dave. Give me something to sign.
And that worked out great. I convinced him. That's a funny story, Dave.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I should tell you.
Hilarious.
I said, come on, Fred, let's do this. He's like, I don't know if I should. I said, come on, it'll be great. And it was horrible. So that's my track record. So are you ready to snag Humble and Fred?
Definitely. Let me sign right here, guys.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. We are ready to blow up something.
That's
any day now. Any day now.
We have been saying for years, our best years are ahead of us.
No question.
That is getting... we're running out of time, David. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
We all are.
We are really running out of time. We're not here forever, but you could be the guy. This is the final chapter where we meet Dave Himelfarb, and then it all turned around.
Right. Let me get back to you on that. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my
Let me
people
get back to you on that.
How dare idea.
You? How dare you come
Howard,
in here
usually,
and refuse?
Usually success like that, you're pursued by the representative. You don't have to sell yourself to them.
Well, this is different, isn't it? This is a different kind of vibe.
It would be much better if Dave came in. And
Dave wants nothing.
That was his opening statement. I want you guys.
Dave's not even sure why he's here.
No, I know he's not.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If we don't walk out of here with a deal with Dave,
things are bad.
I'm sure why he's here. You guys are sure why he's here.
No, of course I'm sure. I know why you're here, but could we also maybe take a detour into Humble and Fred signing?
I think that'd be a great idea, guys. It's an extra added benefit I didn't anticipate.
You see no benefit from Humble and Fred, but that's fine. We're going to go on tour, and we will be competing with the kids and the whatever. Has there been someone you did pursue? You went, I'd like to sign that person, I'd like to manage them, I'd like to...
Yes, a few people.
For instance?
I'm not going to tell you because I don't embarrass myself or embarrass them. And you know, it's.
I don't mind embarrassing myself. Look at me every day.
It's a work in progress. You know, you say, this is what I think, this is my vision, and you wait. And they say, I want to take baby steps, or they resist, or they don't. I don't go after. I don't do that. I mean, I don't really pursue that so much in terms of trying to manage or produce talent that much anymore. I see a few people, and if it catches my eye, and there's something I can do, I can introduce them. I see a path, then of course I'll say, let me do this for you.
What I often find interesting about lawyers, now this could be inconsistent with what you did, but lawyers who get into politics, they're not making nearly as much money as a politician as they could make as a lawyer, say. When you're following or you're traveling with and managing Kids in the Hall, couldn't you be making more money doing something else? So is part of that a passion or an interest?
It's definitely a passion. It's like Gypsy, the musical. You go from town to town, you become a carny. It's much different. I've done a lot of different things, but I enjoyed that at the time.
Right. You probably could have made more money doing something else, right?
Yeah, I'm sure I could have doing tax, but then I have to shoot myself in the head.
No, I get it. But that's what I say. But a lawyer who gets into politics, you make a lot more money, but obviously enjoys the political arena more.
It's a different thing. I think so. In politics, you raise your profile. So if you're out there, people know you, and it's advantageous. It's advertising, it's promotion. So you're setting the stage for later.
Okay.
Yeah,
but also, David's got a law practice. You do, if somebody were listening now, and they said, this Himelfarb guy did all right with Humble and Fred. He didn't sign him, but again, that's to be determined. But I'm looking for a lawyer to do some negotiation, dispute resolution. Can just everyday folks hire you?
Everyday folks can hire me. But what I do and what I've set up, and what I was here to tell you, there's no rush, was this website that I've established in this business called @david.com, where I continue to do what I've always done, which is do what I can do, and the things I can't do, I will find the best legal talent to help someone.
Give me the website again, because I want to make sure I get this part correct. It's what?
@david.com.
@david.com.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. On there, by the way, you'd see a few amusing videos from my friends, some of the people we're talking about here, just in support of this endeavor.
Ed the Sock, Jason Priestley, Dave Foley.
Mark McKinney.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they helped me out.
I did some work with the Sock for a couple of years.
I know that.
Yeah, it was great. That was fantastic. Actually, the Sock and I have reconciled because we needed mediation back in the 90s, and then now we're fine.
That's good.
We came back together. Maybe there'll be a reunion.
So this website, what does it do exactly?
Well, it has a portion of it that you would submit a question. Sorry, you'd fill out a questionnaire. Sorry, and you would submit your problem, and I would take a look at that, and then I would determine whether I could help you, and if not, I would be able to refer you to or bring in other counsel that would be in a different area, tax, criminal, matrimonial, any number of areas that I don't practice in and wouldn't, and therefore I bring in very good people. The idea here is that, and I use this phrase, your brother-in-law, because how
I love it. It says your brother, period, in law, period.
How comforting it would be if you could return to a brother and say, who should I go to? I trust you. And that's what I do with my clients anyway. They trust me, and they say, who should I go to? And I bring someone in, and they sit there, and I I hold the client's hand, and I make sure the client's getting the best possible advice for the least possible amount of money, and they're content, they're happy. And it's because when you come up against the law, or you're interacting with the law, it's a very, very there's a lot of upheaval, and there's a lot of stress, and
intimidating.
It's intimidating. It's very comforting to have someone by your side that you trust and who makes you feel better and says it's going to be okay, or explains and say, yeah, what this person is saying, this lawyer is saying, makes perfect sense. Do exactly what they're telling you to do.
You know, it's an interesting concept because there really isn't much that we do today in our 2016 lives where we think, oh, I have a question, I'll just Google it. But here's another step where you go, if I have a legal question, I can just go to @david.com, and David, your brother-in-law, will basically point you in the right direction. And whether that's a contract or it's a real estate play, and as you've said, I think it's interesting because if it's not David's expertise, you are going to know somebody that you trust that would be able to handle something that I'm looking to. Maybe it's a personal injury thing. And rather than try and figure out who's the guy, maybe you're going to go, I have a great guy that does what you need.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is this like a collaboration too? All these lawyers that you recommend are quite aware of what you're doing with this thing? And they buy in or what?
No, some are. They're people I've been practicing 35 years, and I've been dealing with all kinds of lawyers. I'm not affiliated with a big law firm. I cherry pick the best people I know. People of my vintage are judges or managing partners of different law firms. So I have a coterie of lawyers that I would use for different things. They're experts in their fields. They write books. They're whatever. So I have no concern whatsoever that the people are competent and plus they know I'm watching, and they want my business, and they want my business.
Well, they want to be somebody that you would recommend.
Right.
By the way, the word coterie.
Yeah.
How do you spell that? Is it
COTERIE?
And it means a group
small group of.
A coterie.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the shit out of that today.
Sorry.
Hey, Fred, I got a coterie of idiots that I hang with. I got a coterie of nonsense.
That works.
Let's listen to a little bit of Ed the Sock talking about David. Here we go. Hang on.
Much-loved Canadian TV icon, and if you really needed that explained to you, I welcome you back from your 3-decade coma. Crazy 20th century philosopher Pat Benatar, law is a battlefield, and when you're going into that arena, the warrior you want at your side is David Himelfarb, a brother-in-arms as your brother-in-law. David knows when to be diplomatic and when to open a can of whoop-ass. He doesn't just go through the motions, he treats each case like your family. But, you know, the kind of family that has to pay him. I've been a fixture in Canadian media for nearly 30 years.
That's really, really good. That's funny. And you know what? Good for you. Way to make it sort of friendly. When you go to this website, @david.com, you're going to get a feel that this guy knows what he's doing, but he's not going to, he's somebody you can talk to. Because if you've got Ed the Sock making lawyer jokes, you can't be a bad guy.
Absolutely. Well, and I think his years of experience kind of prove it. I mean, anybody that works, I first met David, I think it was at Just for Laughs, and anybody that works in entertainment, specifically comedy, but really any facet of entertainment, knows him, knows of him, picks his brain, says, let's do an initial meeting kind of thing, have some coffee, and, people seek him for help all over the place. He's a guru, really. That's what it is.
That's what
all joking aside, like if you leave here today and think, I don't know that I've ever had an experience where I instantly connected with two guys like Humble and Fred. And if I get a call or Fred gets a call later today about a meeting, we'll take that meeting. Just don't be intimidated by the fact that you're here.
I'm a little intimidated,
and I'm wearing
getting over it.
And I'm wearing a T-shirt I got at Costco.
Nice.
Let me ask you this, David. How are you sleeping these days?
Great.
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
Because if you're not sleeping well, here's what we recommend. We say, if you need to get your good night's sleep mediated, go to Sleep Country. Friedrich?
Yeah, the Mix and Match sale is on right now. Yes, it is. All the big names available. Just because the colors don't match doesn't mean the rack ain't what you need or what you want. Get a good night's sleep. Go to sleepcountry.ca. Check out their e-flyer. There's all sorts of deals. Not only on mattresses and box springs, but they have pillows and sheets and all the things that contribute to a good night's sleep. Sleepcountry.ca. Why buy a mattress anywhere else?
Yeah.
How do you get a good night's sleep, though, when you get all that stuff going through your head all the time, Dave? Can you imagine?
No, I can't imagine.
Sleep Country, is that what I'm supposed to say? It's a very, very good mattress.
Exactly.
Oh, okay,
Thank you, Dave.
there you go.
Thank you very
That's
much.
what you're supposed to say. I'm a guy.
Hey, man, SiriusXM is looking for the best comic in Canada, and you can help decide who it is. The top comic underway again. Help your favorite comic cash in a big time. What's that thing Trump's been saying this week? Big league. We're going to do this big league. What a tit. Go to SiriusXM Top Comic and vote. You can vote once a day and every day. They will receive a $25,000 cash prize and a guaranteed spot in festivals across Canada, Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Do your part. Vote for Canada's Top Comic today. SiriusXM/Top Comic. All right.
It's funny you say that, or he says big league, because this is going back, he's been accused of so many failing businesses.
Yes, Trumper.
Back in the day, he helped create the United States Football League, and he owned the Jersey Generals. And it was a horrible, horrible disaster, the whole thing.
No, back to
so
that.
that's big league.
Back to that David Cross bit, though. He goes on to talk about, he's just like me. I got my name in gold letters above all the buildings I own. Anyway, David, it's great to have you here. I think you're a very nice person.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you've enjoyed yourself. Just go back into the microphone for a second. I just got a note from our technical producer that by the way, Kyle, I boosted Dave's mic. Just before we go, I think the message is, a lot of people sometimes are intimidated calling a lawyer. Because as you said, sometimes when it's like you're in need of a lawyer, it's not always a great situation. But you seem to be not intimidating and person that I might like to call should I have a dispute.
You should call me if you have a dispute. If you have any problems, I'll help you. I'll consider your situation and assist as best I can.
Do you deal with agents? Do agents come to you, or do you act as the agent?
Sometimes I act like an agent for my clients, and other times I'll work in conjunction with their agents.
Got it.
Or I'll, if I have a client that's unrepresented in LA and I want them to be represented, I'll call a few agents and send their reelers, send their link to their website.
Cool.
Well, you've come to this show we're in a very good time right now. We're doing a great job, as you can tell.
Obviously.
But we are not represented. We have lost our representation.
Well,
as luck would have it.
Let's go crazy. Let's do something.
Hey, Freddie,
we'll give you 2 points of everything we bring in.
What? No. Hang on. No, whoa.
What?
You don't get
1.5?
Himelfarb for 2 points.
Oh, okay.
What are you, new?
All right.
2.5?
This is why you're not represented.
Yeah.
You stop it, mister. I
thought I was being generous.
Don't throw out numbers just yet. We're not at the number stage. We got to be wooed.
All right, that's right. I forgot who I'm dealing with.
Let me woo you.
We have not had representation. You're lucky because we have been underrepresented for a long time.
You guys could use a good wooing.
We are ready to be
They're
wooed.
ready to be wooed.
We are
Snagged.
We are woo-worthy.
Legal Tinder.
Yes, we are looking. Seriously, Dave, it's been a battle.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.